I think a lot of what Bond Patrick has done is highlight our needs, understanding who we are, what we do. I think the culture, like when we describe how we operate internally, I think that helps you understand it and just helps us to put it into words what we do, so that when you're talking to other individuals and if they like to work in a team, they like to work individually, or they like to collaborate, or whatever it may be, is that those individuals resonate a bit better with you and in turn with us. So it's like there's just a better connection kind of from beginning to end of those individuals. Will just kind of mesh a bit better with the culture that we have and skill sets. I mean, just from a purely skill perspective, like they just line up better with what we're doing. Mike Sigler, I'm the CEO at Rangeline Solutions, and we are a boutique Microsoft Dynamics 365 finance and supply chain partner. We specialize with the advanced warehouse and transportation management solutions. I've been in the Dynamics space for, about 11 and a half years now, crazy enough. But we've been Rangeline Solutions just over 4 years. What we were looking for and the amount of back and forth that we had to have with the recruiting individuals was a bit more of a process. I mean, it seemed like there was less time spent understanding our needs and more time spent just pushing people in front of us and sending over, an email of, hey, here's 4 candidates, when can we get interviews on the calendar for all 4 of these people? And then we've got to vet each one individually, find out what we like or don't like, and going through that process only to find out that maybe 3 of those people are just not matches at all. So it is just a bit more time consuming, and there was a bit less care on the recruiting side to make sure that the right people are being presented. Yeah, I mean, it was tremendous. I mean, there was the very tangible effect of just not spending as much time for us reviewing candidates and sitting on interview calls and trying to vet out different individuals that have been presented to us. But then there's the less tangible side of just us stressing over these candidates that have been sent, trying to find calendar blocks for these 4 or 5 individuals that have been sent over in the span of 2 days. And trying to have time for everybody and compare and contrast. I mean, all of that was taken away. I think very early on in working with Bond Patrick, I think we talked to a few different people just to make sure from our side that we felt comfortable with the right fit. But then as more candidates have been presented to us with either additional roles or the same roles, it was very apparent that each person presented had been vetted out significantly, and they were being presented to us because they were a good fit. And so that we just spent way less time having to worry about that side of things and spent more time getting into the individual's project experience and more of the specifics without having to get too much into some of the other elements. The last role that we worked with Bond Patrick on was a senior supply chain analyst, and grand total we interviewed 1 candidate and moved forward with that individual. The role before that, we worked with Bond Patrick to bring on a senior project manager and interviewed 1 candidate and proceeded to move forward with that individual. I'd say from everything we saw, Bond Patrick had represented Rangeline Solutions very accurately. It was a very collaborative process. I mean, I think we spent a little bit of time kind of talking about the role and what we envisioned the responsibilities would be, and then information was quickly sent over to say this is what the sizzle pack can contain, and some. I think both of them contain some video elements from our conversations, and did a really good job representing who we are, what the role is, and conveying the company in a positive light. Both candidates having seen the sizzle pack and have known a bit more about us as a company before going into the conversations, it felt more of a conversation where us as a organization and the candidate were kind of on the same page for what we were looking for and what they were looking for. So it's like we were able to ask questions and kind of get to the heart of where we could meet in the middle a bit faster. I think it's been really rewarding just hearing how much of an impact those sizzle packs have had. Because when we previously worked with other recruiters and other recruiting firms to bring on individuals, we'll get on these interview calls, and sometimes candidates know our name and that's it. Like they don't know a whole lot about us. But when we now, and having worked with Bond Patrick, it's not even that the candidate has information about the company, is that they see the sizzle pack and can get excited about the opportunity. It's presenting our company in a light that can really ignite, maybe a passion of theirs or something that they were looking for in a different company or in a different role. And it just, I think, does so much more to position the candidate to be excited about the opportunity and be looking to join the team, rather than just sending out mass emails, to prospects asking if they're interested in the new role. It's like that's, I think, a little bit more archaic, maybe, or maybe a legacy way of doing things, where I feel like getting candidates excited about the opportunity is the future. The recruiting process now is just so much less stressful. I think in working with Bond Patrick, like we have a very consistent liaison, maybe is the right word, from us to the candidates to bringing in individuals. I know, again, in other firms or companies that we've worked with, it's been, maybe for lack of a better term, a revolving door on people reaching out to us, or people that we need to be in contact to that represent us. And it's always confusing who we're contacting or who's handling our business. And with Bond Patrick, it's been very consistent, very smooth, just very easy to know who we're talking to, that the candidates being passed to us are properly vetted, and it's just been a very smooth experience. So it's made it just generally more enjoyable that we say our business needs X candidate or X role in the company, and we know that with Bond Patrick it'll get filled very quickly. Just be very open or transparent about your business's needs. There's no point in trying to sugarcoat the role or what it is that you're looking for, because in working with Bond Patrick, it's you're trying to work collaboratively to define the role and come up with what that individual is going to be doing, or what the impact is going to be for the company. And it's something that you work together on to a certain extent. I mean, we internally, I feel, have a fairly clear vision on a role before we go into a conversation with you. But then I feel like in our conversations, it's always either brought to light more details, or maybe things we hadn't considered, or things like that. And I think it's just advice to just kind of be transparent and be open about the role, and don't be afraid to maybe stumble over answers or not have an answer to something, and just work through that detail with you. Yeah, so working with Ryan has just felt like it's given more of a personal touch in the recruiting process. He's taken the time to understand not only me as a worker and an individual contributing to the business, but the business as a whole, and some of the team members on there, to better understand how potential candidates can fit in with the company, where they can bring the most value, and just trying to better understand our plans for the future to try to anticipate those demands.